It's early November, it's raining, it's cold, and I guess your garden probably looks the same as mine does. Not a lot going on. Hey there and welcome to Plants vs. Germans. In today's video I would like to talk about plants that you can start in November. We have the first example right here. Those are Asia salads. So when I talk about growing plants in November or starting plants in November, I don't necessarily mean growing them outside. That's the reason why I have those Asia salads in my greenhouse here. Although it is not really sealed, so it does get quite cold in here too. Although Asia salads have the word salads in their name, they don't really belong to the salad family. They're more related to brassicas. They can tolerate cooler weather and they don't really like the heat, so they're a perfect crop to start in November. I just have a mix of Asia salads here with the Mitsune, some different ones here, and I have the next plant in the back here, which looks quite small. If you have a spot, maybe inside, or you have a greenhouse like I have, just put them into like a grow bag or just in some soil here, and they'll still grow quite nicely in November. And you can start them now too. As you can tell, I've started those a bit earlier in October, but they will still produce some plants, and you don't have to harvest them when they're that big. You can harvest them as small plants. It's just nice to be able to harvest anything in November. In the back here, I have a plant that is very similar to the other Asia salads here, and that's pak choi. As you can tell, it still grows in November, but it's a bit smaller, so it doesn't like the cold temperatures as much as the other Asia salads. Maybe I just don't have enough soil in there. Maybe there are just way too many plants in here, and that's why the growth is stumped. But as you can see, it's still growing, and you can still harvest it and eat it later. So that's definitely my second plant for November that you could still start. Same goes with the other Asia salads. If you have a mild fall, you might be able to grow them outside, but I recommend starting them under a roof in a greenhouse or similar. You can always try to plant some different kinds of salads in November. Same goes for those ones. But as you can see, I mean, I've harvested a lot, but they don't really grow that much anymore because the temperatures are just too cold, especially during nighttime. Although we don't have frost yet, so that's, as long as you don't have frost, you can still try to plant some salads. But there's one type of salad that I'm going to show you in a sec that you can always start in November, especially when the temperatures are around 4, 5, 6. Plants here that you can see are lamb's lettuce. I've sowed them a few days ago and they already popped out. Temperatures have been fine. You can already see the real leaves coming out, and it will continue growing as time goes on, especially when the temperature is still fairly mild. This plant is quite cold tolerant, but it still won't really grow as big as it could get if you planted or grow it from seed like a month earlier. So don't expect a big harvest, but still you can get them when they're like this big, and you can still sow a lot of them, so you will have a salad. Perfect time to sow some herbs. As you can see, I have a big mint plant here, some different kind of herbs here too, but they don't really tolerate the cold weather. So what I would recommend is starting them inside. You can just use regular kitchen herbs, something that you use quite often, some basil, maybe some coriander, and just leave them on your windowsill somewhere with enough heat and some sunlight, and they will pop out after a week or two, and you can harvest fresh herbs during winter. Which, if you haven't done so already, is planting your fruit trees. If you have a certain kind of fruit that you want to have next year, that you want to be able to harvest from your garden next year, plant them now. As long as we don't have any frost, as long as the temperatures don't drop below 0 degrees Celsius at night or even during the day, you can still grow or plant your fruit trees. That's what I did with this one. This is a kaki. I'm really looking forward to it next year. I hope it will survive the winter. I'll probably have to wrap it up so it will be nice and warm during the winter so the frost won't damage it too much. But I'm really looking forward to it. I hope it will survive so I can harvest my first kakis. Some empty space in your raised bed. I don't have any empty space right now because I have to clean out all the plants here. Then I would recommend still trying to plant some garlic, plant some onions. You probably won't be able to harvest them this year, but you will definitely have a small harvest in the next year. And it doesn't have to be like hundreds of them, but even just like 10, 20 plants are enough to actually have a small harvest next year. As you can see, I still have a zucchini in here, but yeah, this won't grow anymore, and it's been raining so much, as you can see, it's getting squishy here. So I'll probably have to take this out. For today's video, I hope you enjoyed it. Leave a like, subscribe, and see you next time.